My thanks to Bring Me to Life Radio, and welcome to the Cinema Scribe. In the last installment of the Cinema Scribe, I presented summaries of my favorite films from two film festivals, the Chicago International Film Festival and the Reeling International LGBTQ Film Festival. In this segment, I'm presenting my second installment on offerings from this year's events, with summaries of presentations from the 29th Annual Whitaker St. Louis International Film Festival and the Gene Siskel Film Center Black Harvest Film Festival. Like other programs this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, these events were streamed virtually, enabling audiences to screen these offerings from the safety of their own homes. But this format also provided an opportunity for more viewers to watch these films than ever before, an approach that is worth considering for the future, whether or not movie houses are once again open. Herewith then are brief looks at 9 films from these events, 8 from the St. Louis Festival and 1 from Black Harvest, all of which are American releases unless otherwise indicated. How do you cure millions of supposedly mentally ill people overnight? By publicly proclaiming that their affliction of homosexuality isn't an affliction at all, a development explored in the excellent new documentary Cured. This was made possible in 1973 when the American Psychiatric Association dropped being gay from its official list of mental maladies. It was a hard-fought victory in the LGBTQ rights movement, one that's meticulously detailed in this superb documentary. This film features a wealth of interviews with those who were on the front lines, as well as ample archive footage depicting the key moments in the effort to win over the hearts and minds of those who blindly accepted an assessment for which there was no scientific basis to back it up. In addition to chronicling this seminal development, the film is a fitting tribute to many unsung heroes in the LGBTQ rights movement, giving them the accolades they have long deserved. Patrick Salmon and Bennett Singer's fine offering is a great viewing for those who believe in social justice, and it's especially highly recommended for younger viewers in the LGBTQ community who may not, but need to know their people's history. In The French Charmer, Stars by the Pound, an idealistic teen, played by newcomer Laurie Duchesne, dreams of becoming an astronaut. There's just one problem. Her chubby physique holds her down, both literally and figuratively. Nevertheless, this quest launches her on an unexpected journey of self-discovery, as told through this positively delightful and inspiring offering. Director Marie-Sophie Chambon's debut feature may be a little commercial and a tad predictable, but so what? This release's gentle humor, touching moments, inventive visuals, and expertly cast ensemble make for an entertaining and uplifting time, the kind of movie we could use more of right now. Remorse, regret, and defiance are words most of us would not readily associate with executioners, but they're more than apropos when it comes to the characters in Iranian director Mohammad Rasulov's latest There Is No Evil. This collection of 4 vignettes about the lives of executioners placed into situations bigger than themselves examines how these individuals cope with their circumstances, revealing feelings that those in this grim profession aren't supposed to possess. While there are occasional pacing issues and a slight tendency for the filmmaker to wear his heart on his sleeve, these minor flaws are easily overlooked in the wake of the picture's numerous other strengths. In all, a surprisingly touching and insightful offering. How much does memory dictate our consciousness? Moreover, how much does our consciousness shape who we are? And is it possible to reshape our consciousness, and hence ourselves, by altering the memories that go into it? Such are the questions raised in Minor Premise, in which the work of a research scientist, played by Sayafa Sridharan, seeks the development of technology designed to bring about such changes, using himself as the primary subject of his experiment. But when things don't go as planned, he opens a Pandora's box that's difficult to again close. Filmmaker Eric Schultz's debut feature echoes the works of director Christopher Nolan, as well as themes first raised in the 1983 sci-fi classic Brainstorm. This hybrid sci-fi smart horror thriller gets better with each passing frame. Although the film is a little too technical and needlessly cryptic in its first 30 minutes, it makes up for that once the story hits its stride, taking viewers on quite a ride all the way to its conclusion. In the French comedy drama My Dog Stupid, a once successful author, played by Yvonne Attal, muses over a life and career that have stagnated after decades of marriage and fatherhood. However, the writer's life takes an unexpected and quirky turn when he impulsively adopts a big, dim-witted, perpetually randy, ever-slobbering dog who wanders into his garden, and whose presence subsequently overturns the familiar routine he has long known but grown to despise. What starts off as a frothy farce gradually turns more introspective as the protagonist witnesses his life degenerating even further, a change that he initially believes he enjoys, but he soon comes to realize otherwise. With fine performances by actor-director Attal and Charlotte Gainsbourg, this often hilarious yet thoughtful tale offers more than just a silly, rambunctious dog movie, particularly when it comes to our appreciation of what we have and what we wish we had as we get on in life. This delightful fare, reminiscent of early Woody Allen films but with its own distinctive spin, entertains from start to finish, even growing on viewers with multiple screenings. How much should a spouse be willing to give to his or her partner? That's the question raised in The Artist's Wife, a moving, if sometimes slightly disjointed look at the life of a wife played by Lena Olin, who gave up her pursuit of being an artist to support the painting career of her talented, famous, and affluent, but capricious and egotistical husband, played by Bruce Dern, a challenge made all the more difficult by the onset of Alzheimer's disease, making him more volatile and unpredictable than ever. The dynamics of a woman torn between wanting to support her beloved and pull away to attend to her own needs are examined in multiple permutations, presenting a profile of a character frustrated with attempting to be conciliatory in multiple regards. The superb lead performances by Olin and Dern, backed by a fine supporting cast, really make this picture, helping director Tom Dolby's efforts shine, even when its sometimes meandering narrative lets them down. This is definitely a worthwhile candidate for award season consideration, especially in the acting categories. When a lepidopterist who's an expert in his field doesn't personally know what it's like to go through the kind of transformation that all of his butterfly subjects experience, he sets out on a wilderness journey that provides him with that very metamorphosis. Filmmaker Tom Putnam's fact-based story about the odyssey of Dr. Robert Pyle, eccentrically played by David Cross, in his trek through one of the remotest wildlife areas in the country, tells a tale encompassing a range of emotions, from laughter to tears to revelation, a picture highly reminiscent of films like director Jean-Marc Vallée's Wild. Though somewhat episodic at times, the overall narrative rings true to its mission and does so with beautiful cinematography, fine performances, and an excellent score. When we all need to get on with our lives, stories like this give us a template to draw from so that we may all take flight. It's amazing what a little culture can do. So it was in 1826 New York when the first American performance of Italian-style operatic music was staged in the city's old St. Patrick's Cathedral, an oratorio arranged by Lorenzo di Ponte, Mozart's librettist. This little-known event sparked a wave that impacted Gotham's art scene across the board, helping to make the city the center of American cultural life. In the Italian-American co-production The Oratorio, directors Alex Bayer, Jonathan Mann, and Marianne Rothberg document a present-day recreation of that event, with commentary from the likes of Martin Scorsese and Jim Gaffigan, who call the cathedral their home parish. In addition to chronicling the current recreation by the Company of Italy's Teatro Lirico Cagliari, the film details the original event, the life of its creator, and the history of the cathedral, including its ongoing impact as a spiritual center for New York's immigrant population. While this offering commendably presents material on a wide variety of subjects, its focus sometimes meanders a bit, and it could definitely benefit from more of what this picture is all about, the music. Nevertheless, the oratorio is an otherwise engaging and enlightening project that sheds light on a story whose influence has been far greater than its principals probably ever imagined it would be, and one that deserves to be remembered and celebrated. Finally, from the Black Harvest Festival, there is the Outside Story. While the premise of this delightful yet thoughtful romantic comedy is essentially simple, director Kazimierz Noskowski successfully manages to make the most of the material. When a film editor, played by Brian Tyree Henry, is locked out of the Brooklyn apartment in which he has been confined for far too long, he unwittingly discovers a huge outside world that he hasn't interacted with for a while. He meets neighbors he's never known, makes new friends, and uncovers parts of himself that he never knew existed. Though occasionally predictable and slightly episodic, this charming release nevertheless touches and entertains on multiple fronts, all brought to life by Henry's excellent lead performance, perhaps the best of his career. It's truly astounding how a story as rudimentary as this can remind us of some of life's more important and often overlooked little truths, especially when we take time to look up and examine the world around us once in a while. Most of these releases have been playing at film festivals, and some have even had limited streaming and theatrical runs. Others are being prepared for release online in the near future. Summaries of other pictures that I screened at the festivals can be found on my website at www.brentmarchant.com, and detailed reviews of some of the offerings discussed here will appear on my website in the near future. Film festivals are an excellent way to see movies that may not be found anywhere else, and now that they're available for virtual viewing, they're easier than ever to find. If you're as big of a movie buff as I am, it's worth your while to check them out. In the meantime, happy viewing. I'm Brent Marchant, the Cinema Scribe. Thanks for listening.
A lifelong movie fan and longtime student of metaphysics, Cinema Scribe Brent Marchant is the award-winning author of Get the Picture, Conscious Creation Goes to the Movies, Consciously Created Cinema, The Movie Lover's Guide to the Law of Attraction, and Third Reel Conscious Creation Goes Back to the Movies, all of which provide reader-friendly looks at how the practice of conscious creation, also known as the Law of Attraction, is illustrated through film. Brett maintains an ongoing blog about metaphysical cinema and other self-empowerment topics through his website, www.brentmarchant.com. He's also the movie correspondent for the Good Radio Network and New Consciousness Review Magazine and Radio, with additional writing contributions to Smart Women's Empowerment, The Happy Guide, Library Journal, BeliefNet, Vivid Life, New Age News, and Master Heart Magazine. Brett holds a BA in Magazine Journalism and History from Syracuse University. Again, check him out at www.brentmarchant.com.